everyone. I'm Lee Pacchia, and you are watching The Business of Law, the only web TV program focusing on the challenges and opportunities facing the legal profession. It's been said before that big law has a gender problem. When you look at the AmLaw 200, under 20% of partners are women. A big part of that can be chalked up to the difficulties of returning to big law after maternity leave. My guest today is working on just that problem. We're joined now by Caren Ulrich Stacy. She's the founder of OnRamp Fellowship, which works on reintegrating women lawyers back into large law firms. Thanks for joining us. Good to see you.
Thanks. Hi, Lee.
So before we dive into the program itself, can you talk a little bit about the problem? It's 2014. Why is this still an issue that we're talking about? It's unfortunate.
Well, the issue's gotten worse. So we have a deficit in the partnership already in large law, and then for the fourth consecutive year, we have a decline in the number of women associates. So the deficit at the partnership level, plus the idea that we don't have a lot of associates coming up through the ranks, specifically female, we're going to continue to have the same problem, and it's only going to get worse. So my idea is, why not think about some of these women who have left the profession that have had an incredibly hard time getting back in, finding a way to help them re-enter the profession that gives them both the way to update their skills and their legal contacts, but also gives the law firm an ability to replenish their pipelines, specifically their gender pipeline.
Right. I really like this idea because it tackles an enormous problem from a very specific angle. Can you talk to us a little bit about how you honed in on this specific idea?
So I have a number of friends. Let me back up to say, because I was in-house in law firms for almost 17 years, and I've hired 3,500 lawyers. I was the head of talent at Arnold Porter and some other firms. I've had a huge number of friends and colleagues who have left the profession. And the minute they try to come back, they get told that a headhunter won't represent them, that a law firm doesn't know where they fit. So it's almost like their head has just detached from their body and rolled off. And it hasn't. They are no different than when they were highly recruited right out of law school. They're still that same smart, wonderful, high-performing person that they were 10 years, 20 years ago. It's just law firms don't know where they fit, nor do they.
Yeah.
So part of this was both looking at the issues that we've currently had for the 20-some-odd years I've been in the profession, but also taking it from the perspective of my friends who are trying to get back that haven't had the opportunity to do so.
So let's talk about the actual program. How many applicants do you take in each year, and how do you select them?
So this is the pilot program. So because you hear so much about big law and how bad it is, I wasn't sure how many applicants I would get. So 4 law firms signed on: Sidley, Cooley, Baker Botts, and Hogan.
Big firms.
Big firms. And they each told me where they could potentially hire fellows, the practice groups in the offices where they had needs. Not only a need for a fellow, but potentially a future need, so that if that fellow worked out, it might become a longer-term position.
So when you say hire fellow, we're talking about how long a period of time? It's
1 year.
1 year? Okay.
1 year. And the idea is to ease the woman back into the practice so that she may have a reduced billable hour requirement. She may have a reduced billable hour rate. And that's because her working hours will still be full-time. But the difference between billable hours and working hours is coming back in, training, integrating, maybe getting updated on technology, some of those things that she might have missed in the 5, 10, 15 years she's been out. So it's 1 year. So I had 170 applicants initially. 83 of them persevered through the 4-hour per-person screening process, which is incredibly and unusually long for a law firm screening.
That's a long interview. It
is a long interview. It consists of a skills interview, a skills test, an actual personality test, a writing assessment that was developed by Ross Guberman, a 1-hour structured behavioral interview, and then several reference checks. So all of it culminating into about 4 hours of a screen. I then recommended who I thought would be the best matches for the law firms. They interviewed them, and they made the decision to hire 9 fellows this year, which is huge, especially because I expected that they may take 1 each, which would have been a total of 4, and we have 9, double
what I expected. So you exceeded your expectations.
Yes.
Fantastic.
Well, the law firms exceeded my expectations because I think they saw such value in this untapped pool of talent.
It's an encouraging sign. Got to ask, it's interesting to think about what skill sets specifically women lawyers are lacking when they're out on hiatus. Any commonalities jump out at you, or was it different for every subject?
Yeah, so it makes me think of the recent confidence gap that's been in the news. Definitely confidence. A lot of these women think because they've been out for, again, 5, 10, some as much as 20 years, that maybe their head did roll off and crash to the floor. So part of this is them regaining their confidence. Essentially, it's them getting their mojo back and realizing that they were smart when they were recruited heavily out of law school, and they're still smart, and they're still going to be excellent lawyers who can absolutely, positively, effectively help clients. So confidence is one really big issue that I've seen in these women. Technology, because things have changed, especially on the litigation side in terms of e-discovery and some of those things that maybe 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, they weren't as prevalent as they are now. But that's also why not only have the law firms agreed to do training, but 35 career counselors and legal training experts are all donating their time so that each of the fellows gets an individual career counselor. And then, Brian Johnson and Marsha Hunter, for instance, are doing oral advocacy training. There's folks doing Lean Six Sigma, project management, business development, negotiations, everything that a woman would need to refresh and update their skills, but also everything that this person will need in order to be a great associate and also advance to partner. Because part of the goal of the program is to find women who have an interest and a desire to be promoted into the partnership ranks.
So you're going into your second year of this program. What's on your radar in terms of what comes next?
I thought we would wait a year, see how the program goes, learn from the missteps. But with 170 women having an interest in the program, placing 9, do the math, there's quite a few left that are interested and that are great. And then with 25 law firms calling me to say I want to participate, I realized I shouldn't wait the year and that this is a window of opportunity that I think we haven't had in the legal industry before. So at the end of the summer, I'm going to run a second phase of the pilot and invite probably 10 to 15 different law firms to participate and run another program.
Can fellows, if they want to, sign on for a second year?
They can, but the hope is that they're going to do so great in their positions right now that the law firms will gobble them up and that they won't be available for a second year fellowship.
It's interesting that we're talking about this problem just as it relates to the legal profession. Is this a story just about law and how it treats people that leave for a certain number of years, or is this really a story about society on the whole?
Society as a whole. So we see it in other industries as well, which is why, let's see, Goldman Sachs, Sarah Lee, a number of other professional services organizations have created these types of returnships over the year. And this program was actually modeled after their returnships. It's different. Returnships are typically, in Goldman Sachs, for instance, it's a 6-week or 10-week program, whereas in the law, for you to come in and really get immersed in the practice, you probably need at least a year. 6 weeks is not going to do it. So it was patterned after it, but it was evolved so that it would fit within our profession.
So let's talk about how this is going to relate to your 5-year plan. Do you see taking OnRamp beyond the law?
I don't know. My secret hope, which I guess is not very secret right now.
It's not going to be in a couple seconds.
No, is that I create this program and it runs for a couple of years, but law firms see such value in hiring women who have taken a hiatus that they don't need me to run the program, that they start creating these programs for themselves, and quite frankly, they don't even need a program. They just start hiring women who have gaps in their resumes because they see the value in them. So I'm hoping in 2 years or 3 years, the legal profession won't need me to run this program, and I'll start something else that will help the legal profession improve.
Very cool stuff. Caren, great stuff, really important topic. Thanks
Lee.
for coming in. That's what we have for this week. If you'd like to see more of the stuff we're working on, be sure to go check us out on YouTube, and you can also follow us on Twitter. I'm Lee Pacchia. Thanks for watching.